Hello and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. I'm your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this is Black Minds News. Black Minds News is to report, articulate, transmit, communicate, insinuate, develop, investigate, unveil, decode, spread the news, whether by news, video, website, or quotes from publications. As I articulate this information, I ask that the creator of the universe be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit. Because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people who created this place that we call the United States, we, the foundational black Americans, the bloodline, the historical lineage, the historical people known as slaves, we who call ourselves BADOS, Black American Descendant of Slaves. Some say Black African Descendant of Slaves. Others say ADOS, American Descendant of Slaves. We, the today children, offspring, and present generation, we give honor to our ancestors. And you know what the motto of my show is? I'm never gonna tell you what I heard. I'm only gonna tell you what I know. Today's date is August 30th, 2019. Going over to Louisiana. Did you hear? Well, they said back in about 2017, May 8th, that there was a pursuit in progress that went off for several miles on I-10. Many officers were called on to assist. When they got into the particular location and did some of the techniques that police will do, when they had to kind of slow you down, fishtail you, got the individual who is a mystery who this individual is. And after being fishtailed, one thing leads to another. They say it was excessive force. You will see with your own eyes. You will hear what the reports say. And you'll see what they laid as the outcome. But again, is there always a back door? Even though they show you to say that we're here to do something that's to reprimand, but is there always a back door? It's kind of like saying when you have your so-called spyware for your computer. But I heard by McPhee that he said all those softwares allow them to have a back door to get in. So the same thing here is when I'm in trouble, break the glass in case of emergency so that I don't get the full fledged of what you're holding me to, because we already done found out we gave you the minimum of minimum anyway. So we're going to check this story out. I'm going to lay it out for you piece by piece. Again, this is Black Minds News. Stay tuned as we report this. Stay tuned for this broadcast. Hey, how's y'all doing again? This is your host, Mr. Blows Your Minds, coming with another Black Minds News Report. Again, today's date is August 3rd, 2019. And first and foremost, before we get into all this, first I gotta say what's good to my fam. subscribers, new and old. What's good, everybody? Glad to see you here to click on the video. Here to get another one of these report topics. Passerbys, again, this is the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. Reason why that is, we used to get 275,000, that's 250,000 views on one video. Today and other times we get 50, 30, and 20 and so forth. Today, we've been sneaking up to 100, sneaking it. But on the regular, we've been about 30, 40 views, right? 2,900 plus subscribers, been in the business for 7 years. And again, welcome to the most hated show. Go down the aisle, see something you might look, see, click on something. If you feel some kind of way after seeing something, remember that the motto of the show is the truth don't need no partner. Let's get into this here, right? This is to me, is kind of a mystery. Oh, no, I hope I didn't push the wrong thing, because if I did, that's going to be messed up. That means it's going to start off the show not good. All right, so let's get into this, right? Strange, but strange, right? One of those things, right? Okay. Let's see. So what I'm going to do here is gonna go ahead and give you the article first, because again, we're going to Louisiana. Something happened today, a court case where it was somebody pleading guilty. But before I go ahead and tell you all that, let me go ahead and let you see everything, and then we shall be back right after that. So go ahead and do this. Everything good? Yeah, it looks like everything good. So let's go ahead and let's do this. Another Lcpd officer pleads guilty to excessive force in federal court during 2017 police chase. You know I'm going to say that again. Another Lcpd officer pleads guilty to excessive force in federal court during 2017 police chase. This story is coming out of KPLC. Date is done for August the 27th, 2019. And this is how it reads. Lake Charles, Louisiana. Another Lake Charles police officer has pleaded guilty to using excessive force in a May 2017 police chase on I-10. Former Lcpd officer Jared Herbert entered his guilty plea in federal court Tuesday morning to one misdemeanor count of deprivation of rights under color of law. Former police chief Don Dixon and several other Lcpd officers were in attendance. This is the second Lake Charles police officer who has been charged and pleaded guilty in the 2017 police chase incident. Former officer Robert Hammock pleaded guilty August 15th. According to plea documents, Herbert joined the police pursuit on I-10. Once the pursuit stopped, Herbert, along with several other officers, left their police units and headed towards the driver's car. Herbert pulled out his baton and ran to the front driver's passenger door of the vehicle. It was at this point, the document states, that Herbert observed Officer Robert Hammock in the front passenger seat repeatedly punching the driver's head with a closed fist. The driver was not resisting in any way or posing threat to himself or any officer when Officer Robert Hammock punched him in the head. The document continues. Herbert could not be reached, the driver, through the passenger door because Officer Robert Hammock and another Lcpd officer was in his way. Herbert then slid over the hood of the car and jumped over the front driver's side door. The document goes on to state that Herbert and other officers pulled the driver from the car, and the driver fell to the ground with his left arm trapped beneath him. Several officers surrounded the driver, placing their knees and hands on the driver so that the driver could not move. Herbert kneeled next to the driver and immediately began to strike the driver's abdomen area with the butt end of his baton, striking him approximately 20 to 30 times. The document continues. Since the incident, Herbert has watched several videos showing the arrest and acknowledges and agrees that once the car stopped, the driver didn't pose a threat to him or anyone else for the entire incident, and that Herbert knew that his use of the baton to strike the driver amounted to an unreasonable use of force. Herbert's sentencing is set for December 3rd, 2019. Another former Lake Charles police officer, Colin Cleckley, pleaded guilty in federal court Tuesday morning on the same charge, one misdemeanor count of deprivation of rights under color of law for an unrelated incident in 2017. 7 News reached out to officials for information on that incident and will provide updates as they become available. According to the Lake Charles Police Department, both Herbert and Cleckley resigned last Thursday, citing personal reasons. They say they have deemed both ineligible for rehire at Lcpd.
Good evening, I'm Cynthia Arsenault. Yesterday we showed you dash cam footage of a May 2017 police pursuit that led to former officer Robert Hammock pleading guilty in an excessive force case. Today, another former officer has pleaded guilty in the same incident. KPLC's Chandler Watkins has more in tonight's top story.
Get your hand out! Get your hand out!
This arrest has now led to 2 officers' guilty pleas for using unreasonable force. In federal court Tuesday, just a week after resigning from the Lake Charles Police Department, Jared Hebert pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of deprivation of rights under color of law. According to his plea, once the suspect's vehicle had stopped, Hebert, along with several other officers, left their units and headed towards the driver's car. The plea states, quote, Hebert observed Officer Robert Hammock in the front passenger seat, repeatedly punching the driver's head with a closed fist. Hammock pleaded guilty earlier this month. It continues to describe the incident, quote, Hebert then slid over the hood of the car and jumped over the front driver's side door. Once the suspect was on the ground, Hebert is said to have kneeled next to him, striking him with his baton, quote, approximately 20 to 30 times. According to Hebert's plea, he's watched video of the arrest several times and agrees the driver was not actively resisting or posing a threat, and that his actions amounted to an unreasonable use of force. In Lake Charles, Chandler Watkins, KPLC 7 News.
Hebert's sentencing is set for December 3rd, and another former Lake Charles police officer, Colin Cleckley, was in federal court today. He pleaded guilty to the same charge Hebert faced, but in an unrelated incident. We've reached out to Lake Charles Police for details of that case, and we'll bring you updates as we receive them.
All right, so we're back, right? So you got a chance to see with your own eyes with the video and so forth, and heard the article that has been laid out. So we're talking about Lake Charles. And that's what they're talking about back in them days. Those who used to watch the soap opera, we're talking about from Lake Charles, Louisiana. So anyway, what you seen there was an incident that went back to about May 8th, 2017. And the one thing that I see is very strange. Did you pick up on it? we don't know what the name of the suspect is. We don't know what it was about. And matter of fact, I've been looking for that. I've been trying to find out what was the whole purpose of the whole police chase. What was he arrested for? Right? You can't find it, and you can't get his name or get his GT. That's it. So I'm like, well, what's really going on here, right? We got to say, what's really going on here? Because again, no real information other than the fact that, again, we're going to admit to the fact that what we did, but what about the whole ordeal itself, right? So we're kind of hiding something from the public. Those who might be interested, you'll look and you won't find. So we got a mystery individual that was chased by police, fishtailed, and we seen everybody jumping out like those songs. It was kung fu fighting. So we see this happens about 3:35 a.m. Again, as I said, May 2017. Said the car was traveling on I-10 eastbound in the middle lane. And accordingly, it begins to subtly switch lanes from the middle lane to the outside lane of travel. Now, that's okay. There we go. Is that what this is about? Began to subtly switch lanes from the middle lane to the outside lane. Then they say Officer Robert Hammack had to quickly exit the lane of travel and start entering the emergency shoulder of the roadway to keep from being struck by the vehicle. So this here is actually systemic from it sounds like now, okay, well, it's funny I just said that, right? Because I was doing all this research and I couldn't find nothing. But the minute I said this to y'all, it was the first thing that fall out, right? Right? Okay, anyway. So it seemed like whoever GT is, which they still ain't going to disclose his name, this was a traffic situation. Huh? This was a traffic situation. Was my man asleep behind the wheel? Was he inebriated? None of that has been disclosed. Well, that would be, good rapport with the community to know some of the facts so that we can make a good assessment and say, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it wasn't excessive force. But again, based on, the lack thereof, showing us, I guess they don't have to show us. But, again, you do have your social journalists, as I am, Blackman News, and we try to relate this with information for those who do are over here to watch the channel. And so again, this was a traffic situation that somehow they end up saying that this individual refused to stop. And so what you see is the Lcpd, right? Lake Charles Police Department. And they called out the dispatch to the driver, who accordingly was refusing to stop for officers. Now again, somewhere in this pursuit, they tried to stop him. He wouldn't stop. Still some details are still not being relayed because again, your radio, because again, initially it seemed like it started with this Robert Hammack. He coming down the middle lane, almost hit him. He was somewhere and almost hit him. He come back around on the emergency lane and he catching up with him. So he must be radioing for backup, but he got this individual. Okay, so now everything got all this pursuit that's happening. Now again, in the day and age, again, we don't condone. Wrong is wrong, and that's just what it is, okay. But in this day and age, if you're not a cop, you're just a civilian, and you see all these police lights chasing you. Now, women, I'm pretty sure you'd have been done stopped, most of you. I've seen somewhere women just chase. Fuck that, I'm out of here, right? But anyway, but some black man, you see all them lights, right? Like say you seen a fine woman make your heart skip a beat, right? That's what happens when you see all them cops heart skipping a beat. Like, they after me? So once you kind of realize they're after you and you looking at all them, again, It doesn't condone the situation, but maybe the fact that he's scared. Maybe my man's scared and he's trying to get to a place of public so that he can have some eyewitnesses. Because again, look what happens when you're in a secluded area when it's just you and them. When it's just you and them. So again, it's kind of like, for those who might know what I'm talking about, right? I don't know. I ain't going to use that. But anyway, I was going to say something, but that's all right. So you want to get into a place that, again, there's a possibility that other people could see and at least be eyes and ears for you just in case some things go wrong. In this case, we see a lot went wrong. And so we see that this pursuit went on from I-10 to 210. They said that accordingly that the speeds reached up to about 114 miles per hour. Now, see, again, if somebody driving that fast, and if this is about the, traffic, so if you're riding 114, I don't think this is a person who's drunk. You get what I'm saying? Let's say that somebody who was inebriated and couldn't drunk and was swerving and then all of a sudden, now even if Popo and then you drunk, you might straighten up somewhere, but I don't think you could drive that fast without crashing. Because the only reason why he ended up being fishtailed is because they used the maneuver on him, right? So somewhere he had enough cognitive skills to be able, if you say he was up to 114 miles an hour, okay. Then they said that the driver exited on 210. What they call a street called Legion, where the report states that he struck a raised concrete curb on the exit ramp. Due to the speed and impact, the front driver's side tire blew out. It says the report goes on to say that the driver appeared to be losing control of his vehicle where he struck a Nissan Armada. Okay. The driver then re-entered I-210, leading authorities back onto I-10. According to the offense report, Hammock was instructed to, when safe, pass the driver and set up to deploy his spike strips. And so we see he stops his fully marked patrol Tahoe, exit 36, which is, they say, call it Creole exit, where he was able to safely deploy the spike strips. Notice the driver's side rear and both passenger side tires began losing air. Slowly the vehicle down. The driver was then not going to stop for officer. So now, the individual who's going to end up that you've seen in the video is the one that accordingly was the initial officer in pursuit when it all took place, right? That was Robert Hammock. And so based on what took him, he's pursuing them. Okay, the radio and they all chasing them again. He got off. Again, we didn't see all that. All we seen is just what they show, right? So supposedly he got off the I-10, got on 210, ran into one of them, concrete viaducts or those poles down there, got up out of that, ran into another Armada car, right? And then he was told, Robert Hammock was to get in front of him. Now again, he said he's going 114 miles an hour, so how fast could you drive to get out to be enough ahead of him to be able to get out of your car, lay out the strips, and then he comes? You understand? Then you had to be going 214 miles an hour. You get what I'm saying? How could he be going 114 miles an hour and you could get past him enough time to get out your vehicle, lay out the strips, and then he come and run it over? You get what I'm saying? So again, somebody might be a little bit exaggerating on this. Right, there might be some exaggeration there. And so what we see after that all takes place, a lot of officers seem to be in pursuit, right? And so it goes on, as the report says, the attempt the pit maneuver 4 times. So it was on the 5th time, they call that the pit maneuver. I was calling that the fishtail, but they call it the pit maneuver. And so on the 5th time, it was successful. So you see that the car spun out. And then what you see is Hammock struck his car head on, causing the vehicle to crash and end the police pursuit. Now, this is the same dude that laid out the spikes, right? I say he laid the spikes out too. What kind of car he got? Huh? Yeah. Anybody ever seen the Blues Brothers? Yeah, you know that chase scene? That's why they stopped making movies in Chicago after that, because they tore up so much shit in Chicago. They were like, we ain't never doing that shit. But boy, I tore up too much. I don't care about that money. Talk about city, right? So you see how that chase scene was all those police cars. So just imagine you was in the beginning, and then somehow you got to get out, and then you got to leave. So all them cars that's chasing them, how do you still be one of the lead cars after you do all that? What kind of car you got? You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know. Somebody exaggerating somewhere. 114 miles an hour, you have to get past in the leg. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, okay. And so what you see, as you saw in the video, the first one to get to the car was a female. She came in there first. Second is Robert Hammock on the passenger side. And he's coming in there wailing. Huh? And did you notice that nobody had their guns drawn? Did anybody notice that? That not one officer that you seen had any gun drawn? Why? Why ain't had no guns drawn? Was it not as serious as what it purported to be? Is there something else here that we don't know? That again, they didn't feel the imminent threat? That they didn't need to have the gun? And why is it that, okay, now we don't know, we just don't take the assumption that Robert Hammock, based on what he said, that the vehicle going down the middle lane, the switch lanes, and say, according to him, almost hits him. He's pissed off because he's like, damn, you'd have hit me and killed me, I'd be dead. So he mad about that, right? Okay, he'll give you some points on that, right? He mad about the thing. Okay, so when you finally catch him, it's kind of like being in your vehicle, somebody cut you off, and playing chicken with you and all that other stuff. But if you could ever get your hands on them, right, you know what I'm saying, once you anger, you might give them a couple boom flops, right? Just for the aggravation of it, right? Just for the aggravation, but there has to be limitations to it, right? You can't go all full out on it. And so, all right, but this other cat that you seen, the other dude that ended up getting charged too, he jumped over like, man, again, old school, Starsky and Hutch, huh? Starsky used to jump over to slide over the hood to get into the other side of the car. That's what he did. And there was people already in the door. He jumping over the door in between there, coming down, you know what I'm saying, some Jimmy Fly Snooker. He trying to stump him up. I mean, wait a minute. What's that about? You know what I'm saying? What's that about? Okay, we understand Robert's situation. What's that about? Oh, that's my brother, man. That's my brother. You almost killed my brother. You understand? So, but all of them getting in. And so when they take him out, now again, you seeing Robert Hammock clear as day. I mean, he getting it in, right? He just pow, 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 pow. Dude ain't doing nothing. He taking it. You understand? They pull him out. And because of the door ajar and the way the position of the camera, and that's what they didn't want nobody to see. Why didn't we get to see the cameras on the body camera? They showed a little bit, right? But all the other cameras to see what you really was doing, because you could see there was a whole bunch of hands, you know what I'm saying, power driving him, giving him all kinds of knuckles to the face. See, they don't want you to know who it is. They want you to see how he looked. None of that. Because again, if it was just the fact of his reckless driving, and we're not condoning it, because again, you could kill somebody with a damn car, but was that too much? You're doing too much, right? And so that's why they came and hit his ass with the color of law. So let me tell you about this color of law, but the term that they used was deprivation of rights under color law. But again, this is more about him than it is even about the victim. Now again, is he guilty of something? I don't know, because again, I haven't seen anything that's telling me whether y'all charged him for whatever took place. What was that whole incident about? What was that all about? That is the mystery. That right there, little piece I just gave you to talk about where he was, and I just found that as I was doing this show. That's the first time I was looking for that, but it fell out. So anyway, here's the color of law. Now, under the color of law, it refers to an appearance of a legal power to act that may operate in violation of law. For example, if a police officer acts with the color of law authority to arrest someone, the arrest is, if it is made without probable cause, may actually be in violation of law. So wait a minute. So remember this in law. Remember that he didn't have probable cause. So remember, they use this. This is what this whole thing is based on, this color of law, the abbreviation of color law. So it says if it is made without probable cause. So, you know, I said the other day when I was doing a story about the brother that got choked out over there in DeKalb, Illinois. The probable, and I don't understand what probable cause means, but probably if I find something on your head, then I got the cause to now arrest you. So that's how I interpret probable cause. But anyway, so it says may actually be in violation of law. In other words, just because something is done with the color of law does not mean that the actions was lawful. When police act outside their lawful authority and violate the civil rights of a citizen, the FBI is tasked with the investigation. The United States Supreme Court has interpreted the United States Constitution to construct laws regulating the actions of the law enforcement community. Under color of the law, it is a crime for one or more persons using power given by a governmental agency, local, state, or federal, to deprive or conspire willfully to deprive another person or any right protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. Criminal acts under color of law includes acts within and beyond the bounds of limits of lawful authority. Off-duty conducts may also be covered if official status is asserted in some manners. Color of law may include public officials and non-governmental employees who are not law enforcement officers, such as judges, prosecutors, and private security guards. Now, here's the kicker in the head: the abbreviation of rights of color law. The abbreviation of rights under color of law is a federal criminal offense which occurs when any person under color of any law, statutes, ordinance, regulations, or customs willfully subjects any person on any U.S. territory or possessions to the deprivation of any rights, privilege, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States, or to the different punishments, pains, or penalties on account of such persons being an alien or by reasons of his color or race than are prescribed for the punishment of citizens. When two or more persons conspire to prevent the exercise of constitutional rights or to punish an individual for having exercised them, it is deemed a conspiracy against rights. The death penalty is applicable in extreme cases when the crime caused the death of an individual being deprived of constitutional rights. Probably one of the hardest damn cases in the world to win too, right? Because a dead man can't speak. So anyway, so this here seems like you're holding the police officer for his excessiveness, because again, we have to say, what is excessive force? Now, excessive force, according to what they say, is this: the amount of force which is beyond the need and circumstances of a particular event of which it is not justified in the light of any of the circumstances, as in the case of deadly force to protect property, as contrast with the protection or protecting life. So again, the whole situation is what happened that they got there. I hear the story that they say, but somehow you're not telling me everything. And that's kind of way I kind of feel something missing, right? There's something missing in this story. And so based on the fact that whatever it was, maybe it wasn't what you said, but it's the way that you package it. And when you got into court, it unraveled and it just says, man, look, you see, you just beating the hell out of this dude, right? Now they had his arm up under him. So he can't they say get your hands up, but he's laying on the arm with y'all all on top of him. The only arm he got is the one that you got trying to put in the handcuff, leaving his stomach and stuff open. So the other officer is taking the butt of his baton and he's in there just gut checking him 20 to 30 times. I'm surprised the young man ain't bleed from the mouth. You understand? Some internal, tore him up internally, right? Because I'm pretty sure you had no kind of limitation to what you was doing. You was already geeked up on adrenaline, right? Pumped up. And so finally you got your man and you finna do what you finna do. Again, I don't see why it was so many individuals. Now again, I hear the story. Maybe that's true. I didn't see all the entirety of everything, right? So it could have happened. But is that necessary? Right? Is it necessary? And so we see that because he had he had a closed fist, right? And grasping the hands from his steering wheel and kind of choking him. And they said it was about 9 minutes in this whole pursuit that went about 12 miles. And, you just seen what you seen. And so it looks like this individual ended up, according to the article, has pleaded guilty to his excessive force. But then did you see the back door? Did you see the back door to it? Right? But there's a little bit more. Let me give you there's a little bit more to this, right? It's talking about that they said that officer, that Hammock, he had some pending charges already on him. Right? He already had some pending stuff. So he's already been in situations prior to. So I guess this is the way to get him up out of the situation. But you see, they charged him was misdemeanor. But I don't see them really holding him accountable for the excessiveness that he did to the victim. This is more about him being a person who was duly having his job and abusing his powers. And it's look like this is what you're holding. But what about this, battery attempt? It's something here, but we're not seeing that. Right? And again, they're not disclosing who the individual name is. They're not disclosing what you really truly arrested for. None of that is being talked about. None of that. None of that. And so what we see is they said that they actually they resigned so that the charges, so that they could now leave and pursue and not be fired and then they're going to be able to work somewhere else. Huh? Now, the other one name was Herbert. That was the one that jumped over. He got charged too. Both of them was misdemeanors of something that's a slap on the wrist, really. And allowed them to basically quit. Don't be fired. That way you can never work nowhere. So that's kind of like a back door, right? So it's like, now if you got a case, I don't know if there's a lot of back doors, especially when you're dealing with them. It just depends. Maybe they a little lenient, they feeling good. You ain't no real threat to them, whatever. But again, you never know how that dice, when you roll the dice, how they're going to come. So again, just wanted to bring that to y'all because it's out there. And, he pleaded guilty on August 15 to this, pleaded guilty to the incident. And, it's just a shame that regardless, even with the cameras and everything being seen, guilty, but not really about you. I'm not really guilty about what the fuck I did to you. It's really about because I did not uphold, and again, the excessiveness. Again, there was a part, like I said, there was a gray area based on the fact that he almost could have hurt you and killed you. Maybe you got a couple off. But to just well, and then your partner coming in, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then y'all just, batoning my man up like that. It's just like, man, it's like this aggression mugs is getting off for free. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's kind of feel good to be a cop at times when you can just whoop ass and not worry about going to jail. And you can't retaliate. And if you get to the point that you can try to get the best of me, well, shit, I got this gun. Go ahead and put you in the box. Right? So it's an unfair match. So that's why it's not incumbent on you when you're in those situations that you do everything, again, like how they say is they trying to get home. Well, that's what you need to be doing too. How do your ass get home? But see, sometimes you could be doing all the right things. You just got the wrong motherfuckers fucking with you. And so, again, Black MINDZ News, just wanted to bring this forward with some information. Again, I gave you so much of it. A lot of you can go see more if you want to get more depth into it. But it is what it is. And so let's go ahead and get it in about here. I was going to not do this, but I did it anyway because, again, I want to get it out there. And because we closing in back onto the show soon, y'all. Soon. So, all right. Yeah. No, man, it's not easy. Huh? Like, damn you do, damn you don't. So, you know how I say it over here. One thing each and every one of you for your participation in your clique. See one another. What's good, brother? What's good, sister? Can't do that much, give a universal nod. Take all this jealousy, envy, strife, and jealousy out your ass and understand that all we got is what we got. Understand the team in the uniform that you own. Yes, allies are good, but ask your allies a couple questions. If shit get hot and when shit get hot, are you still going to be on my team? You going to be down in the frying pan with me? Have you ever heard of John Brown? Is that just a fictional story to you, or is that a real, or that just something they told us to make us think that sometimes allies go that far to the distance? Know that we're dawning on a time where some, but not all, some but all, looking for your demise. So you know we have to always be seeking our vigilance, mindfulness, cautious, and high spirit. Remember, this is Black Minds News. This is Mr. Blows Your Minds. I'll say peace and love to you. Till next show, y'all. Till next show.